can start. Mike was just handing some stuff out. Aaron will be a little late. Those who wish are invited to join in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand.
The United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That said, we'll open the work agenda of the meeting at 6:04. We have call to order. Who is present? Sean, Peg, Bob, Larry, Stan, Dennis, and Mike. Peg and Mike are respectively school district and town reps.
Tom Mazzul's going to be excused. He cannot be here tonight.
Oh, okay.
And Aaron's going to be late.
Right. That one I got. Tom is excused for other business. Peg had some interesting comments. So we have a quorum in England. Peg had some interesting comments that she sent along regarding the structure for reviewing and approving minutes.
Yes.
Do you want to speak to that, Peg, or do you want me to fumble along myself?
No, I have no problem speaking about it. What happened was our last meeting, last meeting, we spent 45 minutes making edits and corrections to the draft minutes, which to me is overly excessive. So I know, Stan, you had made the comment that draft minutes are draft minutes. We can't make changes until we get here. So didn't want to step on your toes, but I thought that's questionable to me. So I called New Hampshire Municipal Association and spoke with an attorney just to see if we had some other way of doing it. So there is a memo in your packet. What he said, totally legally acceptable and well within the confines of RSA 91A. The recording clerk initially sends out the minutes, seeing all members of the board. Each member of the board could then send his/her edits, corrections back to the recording clerk only. The recording clerk would merge all of the edits and corrections received into one document, highlighting all the changes, and then that would become the draft minutes to be reviewed at the next meeting, at the following meeting, and then approved. Any further edits or corrections would be noted directly on the draft, and rather than for the recording, we need to change line 3, blah, blah, line 4, blah, blah. They will be put on that document and then given to the recording clerk. I'm just thinking we have so much coming up, all of the budget presentations, that we cannot spend a lot of time on minutes. So anyway, as I said, I hope that I did not step on anybody's toes, but
well, I think the root cause of the having to make all those changes is that we don't have our recording clerk here present at the meeting. I've sat on this board many years, and that was probably the worst. Was the last meeting doing all those changes. Someone, in my mind, cannot be away from the meeting and take proper minutes.
I tend to agree with you, but I have to also...
No one could hear you with all that.
Oh, I tend to agree with you, Stan. However, to kind of refute that, the Board of Selectmen minutes are done exactly the same way. And I was at the Selectmen's meeting last night, reviewed the minutes, and as far as I could tell from the Selectmen, and just looking through, the recording clerk had captured everything that had been said at the prior meeting.
Okay, but with that said, we have made a motion and passed with a vote that Mr. Carrier was to be a member, not a secretary.
I totally agree with that, totally
And
agree
it's
with that.
unfair for him to have to do this, A, and have to try to take care of his own business.
All right, so I guess the question is Mr. Carey the recording clerk tonight?
No, we should be
Well-
televised, Brenda.
No,
Oh,
Can-
no,
wait.
Brenda had resigned from being recorded.
Well, say,
So now,
all the more reason for the recording clerk to be present at the meeting.
yes, yes. Anybody in the audience, you want to step in?
Look at penmanship.
Oh,
I'll do all the grammatical changes for you, Nick.
So for tonight, Mr. Carey is the recording clerk.
That's what it sounds like. Anyway,
Sean, other comment?
Both the things both of you said have complete merit. Having a recording secretary here would make the minutes much better. I do like the idea that we could get them, send them back with corrections to the recording clerk, have that person accumulate them, fix them, and then send out the final draft, I guess you would then call it.
Right.
Then at this meeting, we quickly go over it, get it done. Bing bang, 10 minutes max, out of here.
Thank you. Dennis, did you?
No, I agree.
Aaron, you're down at the end. Welcome aboard. Did you want to offer anything else for the general discussion?
I agree. I think having somebody here would be great, but I see also that the recording as well is a backup.
Question then for the Board of Selectmen's representative.
Be posted for a recording clerk for the budget
Right.
committee.
right, I saw that posted on the doorway.
The present budget for the budget committee itself does or does not have a line item for recording clerk.
Yes.
So,
In fact, while Brenda was doing it, the monies we're taking out of that line item to pay Brenda for the
then
budget committee.
the question is, does the budget committee have authority to hire, for its own purposes, a recording clerk, or is that the executive power of the Board of Selectmen?
Correct.
Well, that was the question. The answer was that is the
Number two,
executive
yes,
power
yes.
of the Board of Selectmen.
Yes.
Okay. So, we cannot of ourselves hire a recording clerk. We are without a recording clerk, and we are dependent on the video, the tape recorder, and Bob Carrier. I will offer my own 2 cents, which is the minutes are entirely too long. They say too much, and we make very few formal actions, decisions. Until we are deep into the budget process, we do not strike or line items in presented budgets. We do not lower the dollar amount of presented budgets. We review and discuss. That does not require 10, 9, 8 pages. My words are not gold. For my money, it is sufficient to say, for example, the town budget was presented. The percentage of money spent is such and such compared to the mathematical possibility. The following departments had the major events, A, B, C, and D. We have not encumbered or frozen the budget yet. We expect that the department heads will have presented their own budgets by November 1st. That is a complete summary of everything that needs to come from the town. The same is true for the school district. That is my own thought. We will have, for this meeting, Bob's notes
I will see Bob.
My suggestion is that they are a draft, that he is at liberty, as he goes over his rough draft, to correct it for grammar. What Brenda was excellent at doing was taking the 1, 2, 3, 4 points of a conversation and putting them down in nice paragraph order. That is a proper function of draft minutes, and we shall see what happens. Erin.
I've seen that they've had it advertised for, has anyone come forward yet to fill the position?
No, it just happened.
No.
Do they have to be a resident of Milton?
No, I don't think they have to.
No.
Only an elected person, or a member of the district is so.
My daughter
Elected
types in like
position.
100 and something words per minute on the computer. That's how she took all her notes through college. And, I mean, she lives in Dover, but I had mentioned something to her, she would be
Yep.
more than willing, so I'll ask her to
Sure.
reply to you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's actually a job description
Okay.
that detail for a recording crew, so you can get that from Ellie. Okay?
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Then, that puts us 15 minutes into good discussion on the structure, purpose, and origin of the minutes. Do you wish to review the minutes?
Actually, Mr. Chairman.
We haven't made a
Sean.
decision on what we're going to do.
I'd like to make a motion that we follow the outline that Peg has presented us to allow us to initially get the minutes. We make our changes, we send it back to the recording clerk. For this meeting is Bob.
Okay, so for the,
I second that.
we have a motion,
Thank you.
second, discussion. That includes specifically sending corrections back to Bob, corrections, deletions, additions, even a restructuring of the order of materials to create a smoother, perhaps more compact document. That's included in your motion.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you probably state that again? This thing might pick it up, but I want to make sure I'm getting this. Sean, could you repeat that motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion or move to have the process that's been outlined in this document that Peg has provided us, which in a nutshell is the members receive the minutes in an email. They can make corrections to that, send it to Bob and only Bob. Bob will then accumulate everyone's corrections or changes and put them in a document that we will then look at
You
during
want
the
to
next
rephrase
meeting.
that to the secretary, not Bob.
To the secretary. Thank you, sir.
I lost my status.
No, but if it goes in the minutes as you, Bob, that means you're the only one who can do that.
True, good point.
Yeah.
There we go.
To the
Recording secretary.
Recording secretary.
Occupant. That, okay, is that clear enough? Erin, did you want to follow up anything on that?
No, sir.
Mike? Dennis, do you have?
I'm good.
Okay. Then, you have the motion, which I will not read for a third time. We want to improve the budget process, and that is irrespective of who the person is who is doing the recording. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carrying unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
On anything else on the structural issues for the minutes? Then, review and approval of the September 19th minutes. Are you comfortable doing that now? Do you wish to kick that can down the road? What is your pleasure?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of Tuesday, September 19th with corrections.
Okay, and with any corrections or additions as may be required?
Right.
Okay, second.
Second.
Sean, okay. Discussion on the minutes of September 19th. In 12 minutes, it will be 6:30. Peg.
Poor Erin Hutchings' name is misspelled again under the motion. I mean, she's here correctly spelled, or she was here, but
We got you on the roll call, at least. Yes.
all of a sudden you became Hitchings.
Where is this at?
Yes.
On the motion to approve on the.
Yeah. And then the discussion, under discussion.
Okay. Any other substantive changes?
And you know what?
There was one on the last page, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I don't have I'm keeping everything clear here.
That would be.
I did not have a chance to go
11?
through all of them. What was it?
I believe it was the budget committee's budget. Somewhere Stan, I think, made a motion, or he suggested that we change the budget to $2,600. That I guess I would be the one who would be putting the budget together and present it to the,
To us?
yeah, to you and the selectmen. I'd be the representative to do that.
Okay.
No, I mean, you're gonna present it to us?
Yes, I got it.
Well, actually,
We already
the
did.
budget committee budget goes to
The selectmen first.
to the selectmen on,
Right.
you were meeting on,
Next 2 weeks we'll be meeting.
yeah.
We've already reviewed some budgets already.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can, when we get to that, I think you have a good summary for that.
I just don't,
Then-
Mr. Chairman, I don't remember if it was a motion, but I think we decided that $2,600 was going to be sufficient enough.
Right. And we had, that was the last,
Oops,
the last item on page 11. It did go up to 2,600, and it was passed 8-0. Any other that I will call substantive corrections, biggies? Okay, then, with the one correction for Evelyn Hutchins' name to be spelled.
Erin.
Gotcha.
Erin Hitchings.
Evelyn.
Evelyn
It was the first
Hitchings.
one I could think of. For Erin Hutchins' name to be spelled correctly. Anything else? Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes of Tuesday, September 19th with the corrections noted? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Oh, he was
carried.
abstained.
Abstained.
That says 71.
Dennis, where were
7-0.
you? Were somewhere in Massachusetts?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
On the road.
On the road.
On the record.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. We have our discussion time for the minutes. That brings us to number 3, the school district rep, the comments on the budget status and what I always call issues of note, major events that impact current operations.
Okay, can you pass that down to Erin? You should all have a summary in your packet that says answers to school board expense report questions from 9/19. So I know you brought this up, Stan, encumbrances, why do we do them? Basically, it's a standard in all school districts, done at the beginning of the year for the known expenses, and it helps monitor our expenses throughout the year. Last year, we actually had a budget freeze because it looked like we were going to be hurting, and we ended up sending money back. So hopefully that answers your question, Stan?
Well, yeah, normally in the town side, they do it towards the end of the year.
Yeah, no, we do it right from the
That's fine.
beginning
I
if
mean,
we
it's just-
know.
It's just a method that you choose to use, that's all.
Right, right. Good old life insurance increase. It went from 0.32% of the salary to 0.37%. So it was just an increase of 0.05%. That was that, is it 37%? What is it? So,
That was one of those pesky little decimals.
yes, that I looked at it and I went, I mean, I had the right decimal and everything there, but then I couldn't remember what it was, so I
Can stop just a
apologize.
minute? Nothing to do with the last meeting, maybe it's not wrong time to be asking this. Last year, we talked about the Cadillac policy issue, that the government was talking about taxation on Cadillac policies.
Oh, okay.
What is the status on that? Has anyone heard anything new on that?
Nothing new yet. The last I heard was maybe 2020, but who knows what's going on with anything at this point with any kind of insurance. But this was life insurance, not medical, so.
Well, it hit the insurance thing in my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
It popped up to me. I think we ought to get a handle on that as quick as we can if something was to happen, and we know what we're going to do about it.
Well, I know I'm trying to think what we put in the teacher's contract, but there was language regarding if and when the Cadillac plan comes into effect, or the law comes into effect, then we will reopen negotiations and take a look at it, so. Yeah, I know. And then we had several questions on elementary and middle school special ed tuition for students who came into the district after the budget was adopted and had to be placed elsewhere due to the needs in their IEPs. Speaking of that, we now have 9 students who are out of district. One will be back or out in November. Another one is high school is part-time, so we're only paying part-time out-of-district fees. And then 3 will be graduating in June. So we don't have any more students who come in and need out-of-district. We should be okay. So,
So to clarify, we have 9 students that are out of district, however, we pay for them.
and we pay heavily for
Okay,
them.
just wanted to make sure that was
Yep,
obvious.
yep, we pay very heavily for them.
Okay,
Yes,
you would be happy to hear this. Memory fails.
yes, it does.
And mine. Is aging out chronological or school year based?
Chronological.
It is.
It's
Okay.
22.
On the 22nd birthday?
Right,
Yes, okay.
right.
Through their 21st year, okay.
Right,
So that accounts for November.
right.
Okay, that's what I
Right.
thought. Thank you.
And I'm assuming the other 3 in June, sometime over the summer, they will be 22 years old, so they will be gone. Line 4 was the high school SPED, or special ed equipment, IEP driven. Again, this is until November when the student leaves. Right now, we don't know if the student is going to take the equipment. If the student does, then we are reimbursed, otherwise it remains district property for another student coming in. Questioned the student support center person. It is an in-school suspension / hall monitor position to ensure that the naughty students are sent back into class and have some place to go rather than wandering the hallways. Guidance counselors. There was a big movement of counselors, and it happened over the summer. The original high school counselor was funded 50% by grant money. That person is now at the middle school being funded 50%. So the high school counselor's salary is now fully district funded. So if you kind of look at the 2 different lines, you're going to see a difference in what's been spent. Middle school principal salary was hired at a higher salary than was budgeted, and we have an absolutely fantastic middle high school principal. Elementary sped transportation, bullets number 9 and 10. Some regular driver charges were posted here incorrectly, and Nate just has not had a chance to correct them yet. So some of the expenses under those 2 lines need to be moved into regular drivers. And then dental insurance, I did not know all of this, but this is very interesting. The district pays 100% of a single plan for teachers, but nothing for any of the support staff. So if a teacher opts for family, 2-person or family, we actually pay the premiums, and then take that money out of their salaries. And then the same thing for any of the bus drivers, paras, or custodians. So, does anybody have any questions on my responses? Questions on your questions?
Well, you missed one question.
Oh, I'm sorry, which one?
Was in minutes, if you go back to page 14, I asked the secretary's salaries. They did give the secretaries an increase, but it should not have been 53% over, and you said you were going to check on that.
Well, guess what?
You didn't.
I did not.
But
So
Dennis caught that and he told me.
Very good for not.
Dennis caught that?
And you weren't here.
I wasn't here. No, I wasn't video.
You did a good job. All right, so what was that again?
Page
The,
14, the secretary's salaries.
okay.
Shows them, well, as of last,
All right, let me
the last meeting was at 53% over.
And I have last month's report here somewhere.
Any other, Aaron, Mike, Sean? Take any question on your own question? I have the 50%, the item has been moved on point 6. The item has been moved to the middle school. When does the grant money expire? Is it 3 years or permanent?
I do believe the end of this year.
Yeah,
This year.
we
Yeah.
discussed that last year.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. And on 11, it pays no part of dental insurance premium. But
Correct.
The support staff may still buy into the dental
Yes,
plan.
yes, and that's when we pay the bills, we get the bills, we pay them, and then take that money out of their salary. So,
Naturally, we will not bother asking what the principal's salaries are. That would be just curious.
Well, you can look at the line and figure that out.
Yeah. I did.
Dennis told me that too.
I didn't know
you're gonna
that.
have to together.
Okay. Any other question or point of interest for the school district rep report?
I do, but
Yeah.
not pertaining to these. As I discussed with you in a private conversation, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about grants. Without getting into specifics, you tell me how the budget process is affected by grants, as far as at the beginning of the budget process versus the end of the process, how, you know, what pays for what, how, and when. I mean, if you set up a budget with the anticipation of receiving grant money and you do not receive grant money, how does that affect the budget?
Okay, primarily, the grant money that we receive that is specifically used, we want, we need, we love, is the IDEA,
Okay.
or for the special ed services. So the majority of our special ed budget goes against IDEA. Any other budget or grant that we've applied for does not really affect the budget. If we don't get that grant, then we don't do whatever we
Whatever
wanted
was
to do with it.
specified.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Oh, no, thank you.
Does that make sense to you, Dennis?
Well,
Okay.
no.
Yep. We have a couple of significant grants that, we are earmarking for specific things, but our biggie is IDEA.
Sure.
IDEA. Did you get that? IDEA.
I got it.
Because if I remember, it still is tied in to two things: the raise and appropriate, which must be the final dollar amount, and then the return to the general fund. And that's where the unexpended balance at the end of the year fits in. But if it does not have the magic phrase to raise and appropriate, it don't exist.
Right.
So,
If-
anything else, Beck?
The only thing that I can possibly say is, as I think I probably mentioned before, it has been very difficult to get para educators, paraprofessionals because of the salary scale. We just increased both the paras, and we looked at the custodians and increased them. Bob Adams said that in the wintertime, when he needs to hire people for shoveling snow, starting salary was $8.97 an hour, and he said he had a really hard time finding anybody that would do it. So we are now going to see an overage. That one was starting, this pay period. So the next monthly expense report, that will be over also.
If, to make the small joke, for $8.90, people are willing to breathe burger grease instead.
Yes, and they make more. Kids working for Hannaford's and Market Basket are making 10. So, and we are, because of the combinations of things that Earl Sussman, the superintendent, has been able to do in saving the district money in other salaries, we are very comfortable that the increases in what it's going to cost for those lines will not make our budget go over. So,
But it'll affect next year's budget.
it'll be the same. It'll be the same as this year because we still have those.
You can't go backwards on it, so it would affect next year's budget. It's an increase, so it would have to go up. Those lines would have to go up.
Okay, that's an increase, but those increases are offset by decreases. So if I'm giving you $50, but taking $50 from Dennis, the net is 0.
But you're basing that on the fact that Mr. Sussman is going to be working for the district.
It has nothing to do with him. It's what
But
he
you just said.
All right, no, what he has done, combining different positions within the school district, based on population, combining, like 2 classes rather than having 3 classes, or 2 classes just having 1. So, at the top of my head, I'm going to say he might have saved us $200,000, just to pull a number, but it was close to that. So, giving these other people increases, we still have not hit that $2,000 $200,000 saving mark yet.
I understand that, and I understand that it's a tough market out there right now for every trade. And you have to do what you have to do, and obviously $8.99, whatever, isn't going to cut it.
Right.
But the reality of the factor is that line is going to go down, as you say, this line's going to come up.
Right.
So it is going to affect the lines for next year's budget. Now, hopefully next year the lines that went down can stay down.
Right.
Hopefully. There's no guarantee, right? Well, it's just
Yeah,
my 2
no,
cents
no,
on it.
you're right. There's no guarantee in life except what, death and taxes, and I think there was a third one somewhere.
Obamacare.
But what?
Obamacare. Sorry.
That's not even. Anyway.
Peg, I'm sorry, what was your comment?
Oh, I said there's nothing that is whatever you said in life except for taxes and
No
death.
guarantees.
No guarantees in life.
And Mike?
His is a wise side remark.
There's one of the major things happening in healthcare is the uncertainty in the healthcare market, as has been pointed out by Republican Senator from Maine, Susan Collins. There is also a proposal to be able to purchase healthcare across state lines, which is the most disastrous way of cherry picking from Mutual of Omaha all of the healthy 20-year-olds in the state of New Hampshire and leave everyone else to dry out in the sun. This would be a good point for both the school budget and for the town budget. I was talking to the school district where I brought up what I learned as rule of sevens, It's actually 72. You take a percentage increase on a budget, divide it into 72. The answer is the number of years it will take for that budget, that dollar amount, to double. For example, on a 3% increase on a town budget or on a school budget, you divide 3 into 72, and you get 24 years before you pay twice as much. So it's just an interesting, quick way of seeing what a percentage increase on a town or on the school budget does for your long-term operating costs. So, thank you for that aside. Anything else on school?
Did anybody looking through the report, anything that jumped out?
Then Stan, did you?
Jump
No,
out?
it's early in this year, so, you know, you got some corrections to be made that you found yourself, so.
Yeah, no, I was
For the
poor Nate. I go through the report and it's like, so Nate.
for the town rep, budget status, issues of note, changes in the departments, the good news that no transmission broke this month, etc.
Right, no transmission plan.
May I, before you start, this was such an absolutely wonderful addition to this report.
You're welcome, Faith.
Thank you very, very much, Mike.
Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, the expenditure report that I handed out to you is still being worked on, but it's a lot closer than it has been, and it continues to get better and better. Hopefully, by the time we get right into the full year of budgets here, it'll be very, very close to accurate. One of the highlighted ones was the PD fuel line. It's still wrong. I have an accurate number. The accurate number is $8,067.26 spent year to date. And as you know, we talked about this earlier. Number two, we no longer have a recording clerk for the budget committee, but it has been posted. So hopefully it'll be a quick turnaround. As I know Bob will do a great job in the meantime. But it's hard to be a budget committee member and a recording clerk at the same time. We all know that. As of last night, the Board of Selectmen started hearing budgets with meetings in the next couple of weeks to finish them up. The budgets we heard last night were from the police department, the fire department, economic development committee, tax collector. Who else was there?
Welfare,
One more, wasn't it?
welfare,
Welfare.
welfare.
Welfare, yes. I wanted to let everybody know that I went to that, in Attitash, that class, that conference, the Hampshire Municipal Association. I found it to be a very interesting class. In fact, Peg was there. I was there with Peg and also Aaron here. I found it to be very interesting. There's some of the things that you never think you would think of in regards to budget. And let's see. The town side budget should be ready for our next meeting, which is next week, a workshop. We're holding a workshop to hear the town side. I'm not sure who else is presenting that night, but we did the big ones. And the other, I'm sorry, the other big one is going to be the highway department.
Highway department,
Yeah.
library.
In the library, the library wasn't ready last night. She will be at the next one. And budget committee. I'm not sure that we can even get them all done in one night. That's why we're holding a couple of different nights trying to finish up the budgets on the town side.
I have to say, it was my first time, and it was very, very interesting.
Sure.
So, and Chief Marik did a really good job with his fire department one.
Actually, they all did.
No, they all did, but I mean, he's there,
And-
so, you know.
and they're full budget reviews, so you'll find it very informative.
Yeah.
And it won't be, like in the last couple of years, just the changes. They're going right through their whole budget. I
Yep.
think you'll find it very enlightening.
Yeah, no, it was very, very good last night,
Do you
so.
want to make any comment regarding the mathematical percentage of budget spent and what our own percent number is?
Okay. To date, we're at 63 plus percent. And I know I just dropped these on you tonight, so I don't expect you to have a lot of information, but you know, I recommend that you take these every time I bring them. It's a good way to track it too.
Mhm.
You can go back, you know, months and see the comparisons. I think probably at the next budget committee meeting, if you have any outlined questions.
Okay.
So the only question, I think, the last time we had a meeting, we talked about like that $10,000 that was missing, or had disappeared, sort of, and then I think Stan asked if we ever got a legal advice. Do you remember?
We're
recall
talking
that?
about when they
Oh.
sold the fire apparatus and also when the Humvee burnt.
Yes.
Okay.
They're two different departments. What was the, we got
Yeah,
for those
but-
two pieces?
What's that?
What was the monetary value of those two pieces individually?
I think the Humvee was $10,000. That money went back into the general fund.
It did go in the general fund.
Yes.
Okay. And the fire department vehicle,
10,000.
10,000, and that money went where?
At this moment, it's in the account, the fire department equipment account, but
Mhm.
I guess I got one more question about the town budget. Are you done, Sean? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Why the encumbrances are still on this budget printed, I mean, I thought we discussed this, and they're not supposed to be in this budget.
Like I said, I've been working with Heather on this, and it just hasn't been taken out.
It's, the encumbrances, okay.
I don't see
For $10, the encumbrances say $2 is not there. By taking the encumbrances
Oh,
out,
that.
what do you want to happen?
No, you're misunderstanding my question.
Okay.
This is 2016 encumbrances,
Oh, okay, yes.
okay? I'm not saying encumbrances for 2017.
Right, 'cause
These
that-
are all represented in the 2016 budget that should not be redone. If you want to put it on a separate piece of paper for our knowledge, that's fine and dandy and probably be appreciated.
Right.
But these are 2016, they should not be, we should not be seeing them within this budget.
Okay, may I offer the explanation to the,
Like I said, I'm still working with Heather.
and that is, the answer is sheer good luck.
No, I think we're working really diligently and hard on this.
Yeah, and it,
You know, and I'm not making excuses, you know, we were out booking keeper for a while. She's coming around just fine, okay? And Heather's first year coming here into our budget season here. I'm not making excuses, but now that you know, we've taken a long time to get it fixed, but we're slowly pacing forward.
the more serious question would be, to remove the encumbrances requires that Operation X, Y, and Z be followed in such and such an order in order to move the designated funds back where they belong for the year 2016, and that's still in process.
That's my understanding.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, fine. That's.
But with that said, you know, and I understand we've gone through a lot of bookkeeping problems here, but we need to get this pretty much buttoned up so we can have something to base next year onto. You know, within the next month, we need to start working on next year, so we need to have this document pretty much accurate.
And I so heartily agree, Stan. It's been frustrating for all of us to kick this can down the road way too long. So a little more emphasis on get it done is happening now.
Okay. Then, any other question for any of the departments or anything that still crosses your own mind? Stan?
The solar gardens, I had hit on that last month. You were gonna check on it. What is the status of the revenues from that to the town?
They're still unknown right now.
Really?
Yes.
I thought we had a contract that stated it in black and white what the gains would be.
We do. We're still working on that, Stan. I'd rather not get into it because it's getting complicated, but we will have an answer for it.
So is that a bookkeeping issue or
No.
some serious issue?
Serious. I'm assuming that would be a more serious issue. It's not a bookkeeping issue.
Is it a
We
legal
don't
issue?
have- It may be, I don't know.
I got
Bob?
one.
Oh,
Nick.
yeah, I agree.
Nick, you were saying something about a truck that you sold, or what was it? I lost track of that one.
The rescue, the utility truck, when it was sold, it was, the revenue was placed in the equipment line so that it could be used to outfit the new utility vehicle. Typically, when you trade them in, you use that money to offset it, but where we had a better deal to sell it outright, that was the best way, was we were told that we could use the money to outfit the new one.
So it was placed in the what again?
Fire department equipment line,
Okay.
as an offset.
And again, if I remember correctly, if it turns out that for tracking, that money needs to go back into the general fund, then that equipment line will show a transfer into the general fund.
Or is that money scheduled to be spent?
Spent already.
It's spent already, so it's not in the line. It's in the line on this, but it's not physically cash in an account someplace. It's already been spent.
I'm not a bookkeeper.
Well, you bought the product with that money.
Yes.
So it's been spent. Whether or not the PO is cut and everything has been spent.
It's a matter of whether the fire department equipment line will be overspent or on track.
You are still working a departmental bottom line budget, and that $10,000 is above zero. Okay. Anything else on the?
Well, I had asked for a legal opinion on that, too. I wondered if they were able to get that, on that money being put back in the general fund, or Board of Selectmen have the authority to spend it.
I didn't get that information, Stan.
Can you get it for me for the next meeting, please?
Okay.
Okay. Last call, town rep issues. Dennis?
I just got a quick question for Mike. Somebody asked me the other day regarding the new welfare director / administrative assistant.
Yep.
Question was, from what line item is the administrative position being paid out from? Yeah, or is it being paid out from?
From the part-time salary.
Part-time salary of
Yeah.
the town administrator?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, got that. Okay. Good.
Yes, I can.
Then, under, well, actually, this is actually old business and new business, because it's possible future dates, but it's an old discussion. Possible dates for town and school budget scheduling. We have a partial answer from that in terms of the department head meetings with the selectmen to present their budgets. And Bob Carrier, you are more clever than I in terms of
Share that with you.
So the
that.
town's going first this year?
Well, let's.
We usually alternate every, one year the school, next year's the
It
town.
depends.
No, right now, we're going in. If you have your calendar with you,
Yeah.
and if somebody's got one missing,
There's some more right here.
Do you have an extra one, Bob?
do we one?
Yeah, Aaron needs one.
There's another packet right here.
Here,
Okay, give me that one.
go down.
Okay, let me just, I'll wait till she gets it. Okay, what I did, I sent this to the town administrator and the selectmen, because I was kind of concerned of where we're going, that this is our budget, this is what we're looking for, and it depended on them on how they would do this. Now, if you look at the top line in November, you see 3 lines in October. Well, back up a little bit. Last night was their first presentation, and the next one is October 3rd, and I was hoping to put it in October 30th, but it's not a good night because most everybody's not going to be around. So, Heather, we crossed this one out. What I was hoping for, that the selectmen would be able to do this and then give us our finalized, they would sit down and finalize the budgets. And I put 2 possible days we could do it, so we could start Thursday, March 9th. I knew March.
March.
I got too far ahead of myself. That's what I get for not putting
winter would be
that
nice.
November
Yeah.
9th.
Oh, it'd be nice to be in March.
But we can't start November 9th, because what they've done is that they're gonna have their 3rd presentation November 6th. Because they are not going, unless you're really good at getting it all done the 23rd, I don't see it.
No guarantees.
No, so that's why it's marked the 6th last night, because we sat down there and she told me if I could start the 14th,
November.
give them, yes, all this is in November. November 6th, they're gonna have that last one, and if we can get everything we need, November 14th to start our presentation, which is on a Tuesday. Now, I made notice that I need all the expenditure reports, I also need the worksheets and the budget sheets. So ahead of time, if we can get it. I said I'd like to get them on email, digital, and then copies before the meetings, if we
The
can get
budget,
it.
we're going to present that night.
Okay, you're going, all right. Now, I put the next one on the 21st, would be our next one, but that's also our budget committee regular meeting, but that's going to change to a workshop. I'm still kept it on Tuesday, but now November 27th, if we could have started November 9th, I was hoping to have our final workshop, but we're not going to. We're going to have to use this as a workshop. Now, if Monday's no good, you have a water district meeting on Tuesday?
Yeah, but we usually go at the end of everything. Don't worry about us. Oh, you mean for me to get here?
Yeah, to get here.
Yes, I usually have, but we have it at 5, so if I know we're gonna have a meeting, I'll make it a quick one.
We're definitely gonna have to have one, either Tuesday, I took Monday instead to keep you off, because I'm trying to get everybody.
If that's the case, then, like I said, I'll make it a quick one, and, we'll start at 5, and I'll be here by 6:05, something like that.
Table of minutes.
Does anybody want to bring that back to Tuesday, or leave it at Monday?
I won't be around
I
that
prefer
Monday.
Tuesdays.
Well, I was hoping to keep it on Tuesday, but I'm trying to skip over everybody. That's why you see all these other meetings going on, that I'm trying to stay away from all this stuff. If,
You have a meeting elsewhere, Peg?
I'm not gonna be around, and I may not be around the 30th. Ooh,
No.
Okay.
There's priorities in this world. You gotta be around.
my daughter,
No, the budget.
my daughter, my daughter.
well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna leave it at the 27th, or you wanna go to Tuesdays all the way through? This is what I'm trying to find out, where we are, so I can
Okay,
actually book this room. I didn't book this one.
all right, I could do Tuesday.
Don't worry about the 30th, about the joint meeting, that's not gonna happen.
Okay, so cross that
Okay,
one
yeah,
off?
because we're not gonna be done in time.
Okay,
Okay, so we're gonna go to Tuesday on the instead of the 27th?
yep.
Okay.
I guess I have a question. Does everybody present, I mean, we've got all of these presentations, So if Stan has a meeting on the 28th, why could he not present on the 9th, the 14th,
No,
or the 21st?
we're not talking about presenting the water district budget.
Oh, just
no,
you
no.
being here to accept,
Just to
okay,
be here.
never mind, sorry.
We have a water district meeting.
I know, sorry.
And I'm willing to start earlier. I'll start it at 4:30 to make sure I get here.
Okay, why, I put all the other meetings that are going on, that shows us where we can put us, where we can land anything in here. And, okay, I'm gonna change that to Tuesday. Now, there was something that the selectmen did last night that I've never seen done before, which I think is a great idea, is that after each budget presentation, they either made their recommendation to accept it as is or made changes. That has cut a lot of your time down. You won't have to have a meeting, a separate meeting to go over it again. I'm just wondering, Mr. Chairman, if we can't do that
That's
ourselves.
the positive side about having the full budget reviews and having all the documentation in front of you. You have history to look at too.
Yeah, but you did, this is unorthodox, because I remember after all the presentations, you would take a day in the week, you would sit down and go through all the budgets, but last night, you took each one and already made a decision on it. There
Breaking
was
some
some,
ground, Bob.
Yeah, that was
well, I'm
great.
wondering if we can't break new ground on that as well, because that would save us a meeting. And if it does,
Well, you know, I'll tell you, you have a lot of new members on the board too, that are going through this budget season. The Board of Selectmen, except for Ryan, Ryan's is the new one there. But there was some background with me and Andy, and that helped. There's background with Larry, Stan, yourself, Bob.
oh, this is just a suggestion, otherwise I'll have to find a day in here somewhere that we'll have to meet. And
It's up to you guys.
I personally thought last night went very well.
I did too.
So, I'm not sure. Now, Bob, are you asking just for clarification that, like when the fire department and police department present to us, they've already approved their budgets. Are you saying that we just listen and then at a further or later date, we approve them?
That's
We don't
not-
approve them that night?
we can, we've never done that.
No, we
Usually-
got it that way years ago.
What's that?
When Bob Cernak and we're on this, but we have done it that way before.
Okay.
We've addressed the issues as they were presenting them, and,
You made the decision to
Yeah.
Mhm.
take it as is, or?
but that was quite a few years ago. That was like 10 years ago, probably, Larry? Yeah, that was quite a few years ago.
That was before I got on board then.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Why it changed, Bob, I don't know, but.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, it just went so smoothly last night. You did make some changes to a couple lines of, a couple budgets, and asked questions, and the questions were answered, and it was approved. Let's go.
If we were to do this,
So, I recommend that's what we do. Here.
okay, do you understand that this one could be Tuesday, it could be our last one, we could have gone through all the budgets, we already made our decision. We're going to see the selectmen's numbers, and all we have to do is decide what we're going to put in for numbers, and on December 4th is a Board of Selectmen meeting, but we can have a joint meeting there to go over the budgets between our budgets and yours to come out with a number. This is what I asked Heather to do this. Last year, we did it December 6th. I just don't know what the committee, which way the committee would like to go. If they want to try and do this, they're here, they'll give you all the explanations, and if it's something they don't agree with, they will give you the explanation, but it'll still be our
It's kind of
numbers.
early to plan that right now.
What's that?
It's December 6th, and do you know what I mean? I think it's kind of early to plan that right now.
If you wait,
Yeah.
okay, take a look at the rest of the schedule. We get caught into the school board. I'm not gonna wanna go do in the town, because I don't see any reason why to wait. The numbers are gonna be put in. That's why I skipped the 30th. I didn't want that. And Heather seems to agree that we could jointly meet on the 4th. If the numbers,
Yeah.
So I have a quick question, it's kind of related to this discussion. Would these presentations and/or data be provided to us before the presentations? So they're gonna have them
That's what
completed,
Stan
right?
just asked. That's what I was gonna talk to Heather about, having these packets ready beforehand.
That-
So like, we would get an email or something with the information
Yeah.
provided for us that we could review it and be prepared for the
Sure.
meeting?
Yeah.
Awesome. Because if we do that and you do you, everyone does their own thing, I personally would plan on spending some minutes before the meeting to understand and maybe outline some things that aren't clear. Therefore, we could have the meeting, be informed, and be able to make a decision that evening if that's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I think you're going to be pleased with their presentations. They did a really nice job, a lot of explanation on paper for you to review.
Great, okay.
Yes, on both of that, there's, it depends where you put your punctuation. You do due diligence. If you don't, you get due diligence. And the presentation of the department heads has been in detail. That has been, in effect, vetted and agreed to by the selectmen. So the department head numbers, when they go to the selectmen, are in agreement with what the selectmen think the budget should be. So there is that, that awkward tension on the budget law that says we can ask for information in any detail we find necessary, and at the same time, we cannot compel the department heads to be present to present their information. So I think it's a two-sided courtesy that Nick and Rich and the other department heads have given good numbers. If, for what Sean is saying, the backup packet that they gave to you guys is available to us, so that we don't see some, oh my God, where did that come from, staring at us. Then if they are in the room, and this is an across the board question, if the department heads are in the room for the presentation of the selectmen's budget, and the selectmen review the budget with the backup detail materials at hand, does that speak to your concern? And secondly, does it satisfy you wanting to do a line-by-line review of each department budget? Would you like me to say that again as one question?
But I think what we're skipping over here is we shouldn't be seeing anything until the selectmen put their stamp of approval on it.
Correct.
Okay.
Because things are going to change.
Even after we put our numbers in, it's going to change until the deliberative session.
That is accurate too, but it can be very confusing to get things that haven't been agreed upon yet, and then we're thinking, okay, that sounds good, then you find out you get a different number or whatever.
So if I understand the process correctly, department heads present to the Board of Selectmen. There's some discussion back and forth. They may or may not update numbers. Then those numbers are then solidified, for lack of a better term. Then that information is then presented to the Budget Committee.
Correct.
Yes.
So what I was requesting is after that information is solidified,
That's,
We get it.
we would get it.
Then that's appropriate.
Yes, ASAP.
Ahead of time, yeah.
As soon as possible. What,
I guess my other question was,
And maybe I'm being
no,
cautious because this is my first time doing it. I would like to be informed, right?
you are on target.
Okay.
my question here is normally we'll take what the law says, we have to have this done by a certain date, work our way backwards. Have we done that so that we know when we definitely have to have everything put in stone?
Well, I'll tell you what. The last public hearing, that you can hold a public hearing is January 16th. But don't forget, we have the school to do, and warrants, if the school has no numbers set for me, I'm just putting what was going on for the last year. Traditionally, the school would have their warrant articles January 3rd. Their possible school public hearing would be January 11th. They're usually a day or two before us. They can't go beyond this point because that's the last day anybody can hold it. But
Okay.
you'll never see the school in there. the school goes before us. Now, we do have a regular budget committee meeting the 19th. But I have to post that public hearing January 9th. And I got here January 10th, possible warrants. What I'm trying to avoid is coming in a half hour before the public hearing and go through all this again. We've done it 2 years in a row, and in fact, one time we didn't finish it. We'd have to stop the public hearing.
Yep.
This is what I'm trying to do. The school, I have none, but I'm going by history.
Unfortunately, Bob, until we get some more direction from the selectmen and the school, and when they're gonna be available with all their stuff, I don't know how we can book anything. I know you need to book the room, I know exactly what you're doing, and you're trying to be one step ahead of everything, but until we get some idea they're gonna provide us with that.
Okay, well, right now, the selectmen can send to us their final numbers on fire, police, tax collector, welfare, and
economic development.
economic development.
I was gonna suggest that, why can't we start overlapping them? So that
Yeah.
the budget committee meets next week or in 2 weeks with the ones that were approved last week, and then the selectmen meet, and then you.
Yeah.
That, for the camera does not pan, that was Nick Marique, fire chief, and next to him as a civilian, Andy Rawson.
Civilian.
Okay, this now leaves me, I have no idea where you want to go.
I know, unfortunately.
Well,
Well, I'm
So we
going to
have-
abandon the schedule.
we're still, no, we're still,
Today is,
we're.
I guess I'm asking, what is wrong with your red things here?
Well,
The 9th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 27th?
we can't start here because they can't have that presentation the 30th. They're going to have it here, the third one.
But why can't we hear the ones that were approved last night? As Nick just said, these were,
No, normally,
Even before that.
normally when the board of selectmen come to this board, it's with a full budget.
Everything's done, and then what it is, we have our numbers also in place, and we just negotiate.
Let me offer some.
That's just been a town protocol for a long time, but
Yeah.
otherwise, there's no reason why we can't break it up a little bit and start pushing approved budgets to the next year.
I will tell you now, somebody else can tell you. the
Oh,
schedule.
it's a tough one.
But
I'll tell you.
let me go back even earlier. The first budgets presented by the department heads to the selectmen had a tendency to be wish lists rather than expense recital. And the selectmen from time to time felt sandbagged by a draft budget that was put out for public display that suggested that civilization would collapse if that department budget didn't get approved as presented by the department head. That was a long time. Is that clear enough? Peg?
sure.
Okay, that's how some of the department heads, going back before the present people in the positions, a long time ago, when I first came to the budget committee, there was that concern, and nobody likes to get sandbagged. That's what Stan is saying. There is no, to the best of my knowledge and belief, there is no statutory protocol that says the entire budget must be presented in one night to the budget committee. If it is possible for the multiple pressures we're looking at, to do it in two parts, that we have two of the major budgets have been presented and approved to the selectmen. Those two major budgets and the smaller ones are now the official position of the Board of Selectmen.
Correct. But
Okay.
we never did it all in one night. We always used to have one major department and a couple smaller departments one time and then the same thing. So we never had it all in one night, but the selectmen had a final budget figured out when they came in here with the first request.
Would they give you that final number when they first came in,
Yes.
Stan? Gotcha.
So if I'm following Stan, is small math, $10. We do the first half of the budget, the department heads come in, $5, okay? We expect when the second set of numbers comes in, it's going to be another $5. Oops, it comes in at $11. Have we been sandbagged?
Right, that's the concern right there.
Yes, okay?
We don't know what's coming
Yeah.
up
We
ahead
don't
of
know
time.
what's
All right.
coming up.
I'm sorry.
Peg, speak.
Okay, may I make a suggestion? I mean, I'm hearing all of this, and I totally understand. What would happen, some of the department heads have presented, their budgets have been approved by the selectmen, but to keep everything going, we, as the budget committee, hear them, but we do not approve them or whatever the verbiage is that we do. Recommend, thank you. And then the next time we hear, 4 or 5 more, we hear them, we've got the numbers, we totally understand, and then meanwhile, the selectmen have heard all of them, and they have their final budget. We have one meeting where, okay, these are all of the department head budgets. This is what the town is saying their final budget is. And if this is $10, to use your simple math, these should all add up to
The
$10.
problem with that method is if the Board of Selectmen does not have their overall budget figured and voted on before anything comes to us, and things come to us first, and then they realize, oh, this is too much of an increase, we gotta find a cut someplace, they may go back into stuff we've heard. So.
No, I understand that.
I don't like the idea of anyone coming to us before the final budget number is reached by the Board of Selectmen.
And when do you think that's going to happen, Mike?
So that's probably why it was changed many years ago, Stan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there's still, again, to use $10.
I mean, why reinvent the wheel here, too?
We think it's going to be $10. The selectmen come up with $10.75. We go over it. We drop it down to $10.50. The selectmen have the option of going back and changing theirs to $10.50, or we have our own recommended budget and they pound salt with their own budget, and one of us wins or we go to default.
So, Mike?
We've added another workshop this week, about next week, and then we're meeting on the 30th.
Right.
Maybe, I don't want you to etch us in stone, but maybe the first week of November.
So, do you think by the 9th, you guys would have your own?
Okay, Mike, just for your information, Heather told me to cross out the 30th of October. She says that 6th is what they're going for
Okay.
the final presentation, and then after that,
That is, for our own meeting purposes, is the 9th on our calendar. Can the 9th be on our calendar?
I think I got it off. I think I may have taken it off, but I can get it back on because
Okay.
it's a Thursday.
Here's-
It's very wide open.
Thursday, November 9th.
You have it on there, the town budget presentation must start, so. You know, another thing too, what has been important to me, and it will continue to be important to me, is we have the default budget before we make a decision if we,
I think we get that with
with the budget.
we should get it with the budget, but sometimes we get it with the warrant articles. Because I know the schools give it to us at the same time as their warrant articles. We should have that default
Well,
as well.
yeah, because that enters into my equation
Yeah.
heavily. And I'm not comfortable voting yes or nay on something before I see what the default number is.
Okay. The default number is, in spite of warrant articles that have been put forward, under the control of the selectmen, and will be calculated and has nothing to do accept mathematics
Right.
with the selectmen's budget and the budget committee's budget. Question, suggestion. The selectmen are meeting on the 6th. My understanding is that on the 6th, you expect to have every other department reporting in, and the selectmen will vote up or down on each one of those budgets. Is that correct?
It's a goal.
That's the goal. If we schedule a meeting for the 9th, which we can cancel by not showing up, no quorum, no meeting. You know. If we schedule a meeting for the 9th, that will give us the complete budgets of the town. It will give us the paperwork backup from each of the departments. It will give us our own meeting to review that material. It would be, is it, what word do I want? Smart, polite. Would the selectmen recommend that the department heads come to a November 9th meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Does that
No.
solve anything for you?
That gives them only 2 days to give us all the, unless we get all the stuff ahead of time, but we won't be able to get that last one. Well, they could probably slide this in, but that
But
gives
we're
us
not gonna
2
hear the
days.
100% of the budget on the 9th.
Right.
No, well, this is why I said this
As long as
9th.
they got their final budget, we can hear what when they sent us, we can hear. And then, as you had here, the 14th, another presentation, we can hear more. So that gives them more than 2 days to finalize what they did on the 6th.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
that-
even with the efficiency that we had at last night's meeting with those budgets there, we still only heard 4 of them, 5 of them, that's it.
I
Well,
have
it's gonna
6. I
take
don't
us
know where the
3.
6th one came from, but.
No, it's definitely gonna take us 3, and maybe a little longer. That's why I had it set, because we should start here, because there's holiday there, and
Can I make a suggestion? That we do start, as of right now, we're starting on the 9th to hear from the Board of Selectmen whatever presentations they want to give us. And then on the 14th again, and the 21st again,
wait,
Just like your schedule.
Yeah.
just like the schedule
Yeah.
says. Cut it in stone for now.
Yep.
Yeah. That,
Sounds
on that, if I'm not interrupting, on the 6th, the Board of Selectmen is expecting to have the second half of department head budgets to review and to vote up or down, which means the department heads which have had their budgets approved by the selectmen can send that material to us right now. Correct?
I wouldn't want to see it before the Board of Selectmen approve it.
They have approved.
Well, they semi-approved it. They haven't seen the final number yet.
No, but at least we can
No.
look at what they've done.
They've approved fire, police, tax collector, welfare.
And how many times did that happen, and then when they get to the final end, I know when I was a selectman, we got to the end, we had to go back and make some changes, because that was too much of an increase, and the town couldn't bear that.
The structure of revisiting a budget number is available up until deliberation.
yes.
On the 9th, on this scenario, on the 9th, the budget heads who already presented to the selectmen are at our 9th meeting. The Board of Selectmen are there. On the 14th, the second half is reviewed with the department heads available, with the material having been sent from its approval on November 6th. That
We've
gives-
never been able to do it in two meetings. Never, it's always been 3 meetings.
Well, we have
then
3.
what's left we do on the 3rd.
Well, I'm just saying, we shouldn't base it on 2, because we'll be here to midnight, 2
Better,
nights.
starting,
And we already made a motion, 9 o'clock is it, so.
better to have something done by the 14th than to be waiting to start on the 14th.
That's not what I said my suggestion was. My suggestion was that they do come in on the 9th. They do present some things. But that gives them, on the 6th, they have their final, It gives them the 7th and 8th, all right, to say that's 100%. Now, we're not gonna see the stuff that they saw on the 6th, because that's not, you know, we don't need to see it, because we're not going to see that the first presentation.
That's where the 14th comes in.
Right, or the 21st.
I scheduled for 3.
I think you're
Because I
correct.
Yeah.
think we're gonna need 3, because in the past, that's what we had to do. I mean,
More sometimes.
Then,
yeah.
and does it seem, we have a department head in the audience. Does it seem reasonable to have a budget committee meeting on the 9th? Yes?
That's not his say, that's the Board of Selectmen's say. Who they want to present first.
Do we ourselves want to have a
Hold on,
meeting?
hold on. When it comes to us, we schedule the department heads. We're the ones that put the schedule out.
Once it's presented to the budget committee, right?
Because we set our own dates. We also, we let the town administrator know who do we want. And it's up to us, but if this is going to change,
First step. Do we want to meet on the 9th?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. We will have,
That's what we've been
we will
saying.
have a budget committee meeting on the 9th.
Yes.
And the 14th,
Yes.
and the 21st.
Yes.
And, good. The selectmen as the Board of Selectmen will be at the meeting of the 9th.
Yes.
All department heads or those will be at the meeting of the 9th.
That's my request, yeah.
Yes, okay, good. Then let's go for
Because
the
they can get
9th,
into detail if.
and then we'll see how many horses we still have to beat until they're dead after the 9th.
Right there.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're putting that to rest. We're not going to discuss the school until the 9th at the earliest.
When we get to the November 21st, we should have clear feedback from the school board for where they stand on their own budget.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Hopefully it sounds good to everybody
Um,
else.
Now, then Bob, is that clear for you for what comes next? We're having a meeting on the 9th,
He put it together. It's clear for him.
Board of Selectmen and Department,
well, now we're gonna go,
department heads.
I gotta go back and tell Heather that we're gonna do the 9th. She asked me not to do it, but we're gonna have to do it.
Yep.
Unless the town rep does that, but that should be our,
Yes.
actually, you're saying, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
right. You.
That, okay.
you should be going in there. And
Do we know what, never mind.
Okay,
Let's,
we done?
almost. We have you should have in your packet
No, we're done with this. Okay.
Yes, I
Good.
think we have beat that severely about the head.
Yes.
shouldn't have been beaten at all.
And here we have, this is the whole sheaf of information, Town of Milton Planning Board, which is the legal agent for the capital improvement program. In the background boiler,
Larry, I don't have one of those.
send that
I'm
down.
not gonna be late again.
I'm sorry, I'm the one that put it up. I thought you had everybody.
Send that down to Aaron. If you have a wood stove, I don't, if you have duplicates,
No,
that's
but I
what.
got a fire pit.
But, okay.
I'll just have to go get a permit.
So, I'm looking at the capital improvements program charge and process policy, which explains what it is. It tells you whenever the masculine gender is used, it shall include the feminine and vice versa. Shall is mandatory, may is permissive or discretionary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the background to the CIP, and then you will see the approvals of the public hearing of 9/19/17 on basically big ticket items that are either a single purchase, money set aside for a future single purchase, or lumped together purchases which total the cutoff dollar figure of $20,000 and things that are expected to have a useful life of $3. I'm sorry, three. Freud was brilliant. A useful life of 3 years. The advantage of the CIP for us is it shows how the selectmen and the town department heads are working to level the tax load by planning ahead for major big-ticket purchases. And the goal, conversationally, not etched in stone, was to have about $500,000 a year in warrant articles which had solid, careful explanations and would keep the tax load level in sort of the same way that the revolving funds move cost of the town budget into the revolving fund for the purchase of equipment and related costs at the transfer station. There is nothing that we vote on or recommend. It's information that is a little bit like backup for a department head budget.
Well, I'd want to read it more so than this
Oh,
now
yes,
anyway,
yes.
so.
And what it does, for example, I just, let me just find one that I'm mildly familiar with, which is somewhere you will find the library.
It's on page
and,
10. So I see the library.
I think it's under the summary, Mr. Chairman. I think it's
Yeah,
page 7.
okay. When you get to the library, you will find we're talking about the painting project. We're talking about blacktopping the parking lot. We are not talking
Okay, Mr. Chairman, it's page 8.
page 8. Thank you. It's not. You don't use a capital improvement program to purchase library books. You don't use it to replace tires that blow out on a cruiser. So anyway, that's just for your information. There is nothing that we need to do with the capital improvement program except think about it for how it affects solid funding for municipal budgets. And that figure that I gave you earlier, the rule of 72, which is you take the percentage increase, divide it into 72, and that's the number of years before your budget doubles. For me, that's an easy way of thinking about costs.
Our budget doubles, we're not going to have the residents.
Right, yes.
Mr. Chairman, we do recommend these. They're going to come on as warrant articles. We do, our only job is to recommend.
Yeah,
Why
we
not
will.
recommend one of the
That will be, when we get to the warrants, that will be in place. That is, I think, if there's anything that selectmen would like to mention regarding the capital improvement. Nick Marique, is there anything you would like to say regarding capital improvement from your experience with the fire department?
No, just in general, the CIP's been taken and the warrant articles are drafted and formulated around the requests in there. So, like equipment, will be in a capital reserve request form. So highway department equipment, there's 5 different things on there. Those numbers will be added together, formulated into a warrant article to put money into a capital reserve.
Right, okay.
That's how, well, that's at our level. Hasn't really been bumped up to these guys except for discussion at this point, but.
Yeah, again, so if you look at the CIP, you will see it has been ranked by the planning board as the agent for the CIP, and it shows you how major costs are being addressed. Thank you, Nick.
Can I ask clarification?
Yep.
You just said, using Public Works as an example, if they had 5 pieces, they're going to have one article for all 5 pieces?
It's not gonna, The discussion we've had is, for example, there's a chipper on there,
Right.
I don't know, a roller and a skid steer, and there's, 5,000 for this item, 5,000 for this item, 5,000 for the next item. So it would be a warrant article for $15,000 to put into a capital reserve fund
For all of us.
to fund
So
future
so
CIP
voters can't
projects.
say, no, you can't have a wood chipper, yes, you can have this. They're gonna say, you can have all this, or you can't have all this. That's all, the only choice they're gonna have.
That's the discussion at this level, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It would become, you could not use it for something that is not identified in the umbrella.
Right.
You can't go and open another umbrella. But the DPW would not be restricted to only buying the chipper in year 2018. They could decide that the roller was the purchase to get. Nick?
The CIP is a roadmap. The capital reserve funding is the mechanism to get us down there. That doesn't mean we can't deviate within the limitations of that capital reserve fund if something were to
Okay.
happen.
That's what you're saying.
So you're driving down the road and there's an accident, you get off that exit.
Right.
The money's there. It's just, that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything that needs further discussion?
No, not for me.
Okay. Aaron, you're, okay. Mike? Good. We'll see you on the 9th. Good. Mr. Massachusetts?
I'm good.
Ben? Bob? And the chair will entertain a motion.
You didn't ask Bill good.
Yuck, maybe I have something else,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ask Shirley, she knows.
Yeah, Shirley knows, and George over here, he might, oh, you're Steve now,
I think
okay.
so.
No, I have nothing.
Duly noted.
How about you, Raul?
If I could make one comment.
Sir?
I really appreciate Peg and Mike both doing a really good job bringing this stuff in, and it's become obvious that you guys are like very prepared, to answer that with answers to our questions. And when we do say, what about this? You're like, no problem, I will take care of it. Like the next meeting, like it's nice. It seems like everything's much more smooth than it was when I first joined the team.
Thank
So I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely improvements.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Third.
Thank you.
There's some extra clips.
Stan and Sean.
So, I never did get to your email.
No.
All I could think of